All right, X. So when it comes to trading games with friends, how do you do it? What do you think is like the good way to do it?
I don't know the good way to do it. I can only tell you my way to do it.
Okay.
My thing is that when you're trading with a friend, you give them a game. There's a couple things. You give them a game in exchange for a game.
Yep.
But you're never really looking for value of the game. If I decide I want to trade you $1,000, okay, that's going too high. But if I wanted to trade you a $50 game, I may not be looking for another $50 game. I just may be looking for something that I want.
Right.
For example, Reggie, if you were like, I don't know, if I had a copy of Hunting Grounds, right? Hunting Grounds, right?
Oh, yeah.
Which you're like, oh, big money, and we'll go because you're holding all of them in the world, right?
Right.
Because you only have the 3 copies of them ever made, right? If I had one of those and you're like, yo, X, can you give me a hunting ground? I'd be like, yeah, I'll give it to you. Do you have a Game Boy that I can have? It doesn't have to be nice. It just has to work.
Right.
I would trade you for that in a heartbeat. So
right.
that's me. Another thing too is you can trade a game with a friend for nothing. We do it all the time.
Right.
There was a Splatterhouse that you had.
Yeah.
That you hadn't played for years. You hadn't played for years. And I was like, oh my gosh, you got that? And you're like, yeah, you want this? And I was honestly, Reggie, I was like, whoa, really? And you're like, yeah.
You were shocked?
I was super shocked. One, because I wanted that particular Splatterhouse for years. Loving the TurboGrafx 16, Splatterhouse is the first TurboGrafx 16 game I beat, and it was also the one that scared the crap out of me when I was a kid.
Yeah.
But it's beautiful, though. It's beautiful.
It is.
Very goth.
Very goth.
Very goth. You can do that. We do that all the time when we hunt for each other from time to time,
right.
And that's a form of trading with your friends.
Yeah.
If I go out and I see something you like, I get it for you because one, I know you wanted this, and you don't expect anything in return. So that's me. It doesn't have to be for the same value, but also super important to know you can do that with friends that will do that back.
Yeah, if you got a friend that kind of like just wants the highest value for it, then it's like I don't know. I mean, what do you think? Do you think? I mean, where I'm kind of going with this is that, like, for me, for example, I don't really care. I'll trade for stuff like whatever if I just want certain stuff or whatever like that. But necessarily, I'm not looking for. If I have an $80 game, then I want something the same value from you or whatever like that, because I might not have got it for $80 or whatever like that. You know what I mean? So
it's. Sorry to interrupt you again.
Yeah.
That's what I should have said.
Okay.
Because sometimes, like, if I found Haunting Grounds at Goodwill for $5, but it's $150 or a $200 game, and you wanted it, I'm not gonna be like, well, you need to give me this and $150.
The exact value what it's worth.
You don't, because it's like, I picked this up for $5. I'm not a reseller.
Right.
If I'm going to the game store, if I'm going to Fallout Games and I'm going to trade something in, then it's a different story. Right. It's like, okay, I want my value. Or if I'm selling on eBay, I want my value. But if you trade with friends, it's like, no, man, you want this. Look
it up. Yeah, so. Definitely. Yeah, I totally agree with you. What's funny, going back to a story, Joe, you remember Joe, Crazy Joe?
Yeah.
I was in class one day, and Joe posted, because he used to go to Goodwill back in the day a lot, you know, and guess what game he found?
Hunting Grounds?
No.
Oh, what did he find?
It has Hunt in the name. It was called In the Hunt for PS1.
Oh, okay.
He found a jewel case copy there for like $2. And I couldn't believe it. I was like so happy for. I was like, dude, man, that's insane. And and Joe, him finding a game like that, he would actually hook you up if you needed it or whatever like that. So he wouldn't charge you like what it's going for or whatever like that. But that was I just thought about that moment, like us talking about this, man, because that's those kind of moments when you find stuff on the cheap like that. It's great. So.
One of the games I've traded with you before, right?
Yeah.
It's the first game I actually traded with you, Dungeons and Dragons for the Sega Saturn.
Yeah.
Yeah. When I bought that game, $120, but I beat the game, I enjoyed the game, and I was just like, you like this import stuff.
Yeah, I love it.
I was like, and this is Capcom. This is good. There you go, man. Like, but at no point am I ever looking to a friend and saying like, yo, man, you know that one time I gave you that game?
You gotta hook it up, man. Come on, man. Remember that time? Yeah. Holding you. Yeah. You're trying to get guilt trip you. Nah.
And another thing is, I don't ask my friends like, yo, man, remember that one time I gave you like that Dungeons and Dragons game? You hooked me up with like some pizza or something like that. Like no, like don't do that stuff. You know.
Speaking of Dungeons and Dragons, real fast, man. I like the first game better than the second game.
Yeah.
Do you feel the same way?
Like I said, like I always say, some people like drugs. Some people like drugs.
But I'm joking, by the way. The second game was much better because the Magician and the freaking Thief Girl. I think they're the best characters in the game to me.
Super sick. Yeah. Here's another thing too. When it comes to trading, I think it's okay to trade broken things or parts of games to people. For example, if there's a manual you need, right? And I have it and you don't have it, I think it's okay to be like, yo, man, you want this manual? Or how about this? Like, I know this is gonna sound like crazy to you guys, but this is like what I live for. Especially if you go to my channel and you watch me work on like Game Boys and stuff. I will literally be like, hey, you have a Game Boy cover. Like, I'll trade you for that. Like, are you gonna have that? Like, well, I won't say are you gonna have that. Like, it's the last cornbread on the table and stuff like that. But it's little things like that people want for the collection. A manual's huge. Manual's huge. For a PS1, like that's huge to trade with someone. So
okay, cool, man.